Hello, follow me.
Abe's Odyssey was released in 1997, so it's fair to say that this remake is for a specific audience. It's going to be for people who've never played it before, or people who absolutely loved it and want to play it again, because Just Add Water have made a fantastic game again, and it's not just a simple rehashing of ideas. They've really built this from the very bottom to this pinnacle of, I don't know, it's fantastic. It feels the same game, but it also feels brilliant and modern, and that's something that should really be championed. Now, it's not without faults. You know, the jumping is pretty much the same as it always was, which is not perfect, but once you get used to the controls, it's absolutely fine. And it's kind of buggy. I've had a few crashes. I actually lost my game save at one point, and thanks to the PlayStation Plus cloud save, I managed to get it back. I lost about 90 minutes progress, but that's better than starting it again. So that's great. It's also incredibly difficult, and to people who've never played this kind of game before, they're probably going to wonder what the hell is going on. So it's really important that you know you can quick save. Now, yeah, you can go in the menu, just press start, or options nowadays, I suppose it is, and quick save. But if you just touch the PS4 pad's touchpad, it quick saves, and then if you hold it down, it reloads it. Now, the reason I'm making it really clear that you know that is that I didn't know that at all, and I don't remember the game ever telling me that. So I'm not sure I would have completed it, in fact, if I didn't know that, because it comes in so handy that it makes the game pretty much a whole different game. It's so difficult, it's so based on trial and error, but it also looks gorgeous and sounds great. It's funny, it's got a message there as well if you want that sort of thing, which we all do. It's just a phenomenal game, and you can read our full review on godisngeek.com by Mick, who gave it 9 out of 10, which I heartily endorse.
This week I've been playing one of the Game Boy Advance's unsung classics, and the game in question is Metroid Fusion. So Metroid Fusion feels like at times the black sheep of the Metroid family, second only to Other M in terms of how different it is to the rest of the series, and that's mainly because it's a lot more linear and slightly more story driven than other entries, and that's for better or worse really. It is nice to have a bit more exposition going on in the Metroid game, but it does get a bit waffly. There's a lot of quite long text, lots of explanations, and there's lots of messages telling you where you need to go. You know, every so often you have to go to these navigation chambers that give you your next objective, but they're very long-winded explanations, much to the detriment of the game. But other than that, it is a very, very good Metroid game. It came out around the same time as Metroid Prime, so there are a few link-up options for it. You can actually unlock the original Metroid game in Metroid Fusion, and in return you can unlock the Fusion suit in Metroid Prime via the rarely used Game Boy to Game Boy GameCube link cable. But it's a very good Metroid game. You know, it's Metroid 4, essentially. It's not quite as good as Super Metroid, but it's still a very, very competent Metroid game, and it's on handheld, and you don't get enough of those these days. You know, there are never enough Metroid games. It's one of those series that it's one of their best, but Nintendo still seems to neglect it. You know, it lies dormant for years and years. You know, and usually when it comes back, it comes around for a little while, as it had done in the Wii and the GameCube era, and then just kind of disappears for a while. And I think a Wii U or a 3DS Metroid would be very good, and I'd love a 2D Metroid game. That would just be amazing for me personally. Going back to Metroid Fusion, what it does really well is give you a very good sense of isolation, and I think that's something key to the series in general. Kind of reminiscent of the original Alien film, you have this one enemy that is just, it's always around, you never know where it's going to be, and that is this kind of really creepy doppelganger of Samus that's hijacked her suit. And every now and then you'll see it, and it's usually when you're really underpowered, but it's always too far away to get at you. But you just see it walking around, tearing the absolute crap out of the landscape with these upgraded weapons that used to belong to you at one point, but now you've got this fusion suit, and you start with nothing, and you have to gradually build yourself up. But you'll see this enemy crawling around corridors, walking around, and as if it doesn't really give a crap. And it's made very clear that this is something you do not want to get into a battle with until you're really powerful, and that's something that is very unique to the series, and it's something that not enough games do, is give you that sort of tension and actually make you fear an enemy, and that's very impressive for a game such as this. Please give us a new name for this show. I am utterly fed up with the ridiculous names that Adam keeps giving me. Please, please, please suggest a new name for this show in the comments, and if it gets picked, we'll give you some stuff, some cool stuff, some swag, some games, some very cool stuff. Please just comment here, give us a new name. We really need a new name. I'm scared of what he's going to come up with next week.